So now that Ironheart has officially wrapped up, we can say good. We can say that the ending of Phase 5 of the MCU has officially arrived. The 3-year tenure that the MCU Phase 5 had was pretty interesting overall. So let's get into basically ranking all 12 MCU Phase 5 projects. I will not be including the animation stuff because one that's not really connected too deeply into the MCU sacred timeline thing, and two, I want to wait for there to be more animated stuff to come out that I can actually start ranking that stuff. Also, don't mind the noise you hear in the background. If you hear it, that's just my AC going on. So without further ado, let's start off with the bottom of the barrel. To no one's surprise, at number 12, I have Secret Invasion. Again, to no one's surprise, this show is, in my opinion, one of the worst shows I've ever seen in my life. The character assassination of Nick Fury was just abysmal. I can understand what they were trying to do with kind of making him feel tired of all the fighting and all the times that he's had to save the world, and him kind of feeling that responsibility that the whole world is messed up because of him. But the way that it was delivered, it was just not that good in the slightest. In my opinion, I feel like if we do get that actual like soft reboot of the MCU after Secret Wars, Secret Invasion should just not be made canon. They should just recast everyone that was in that show. Amelia Clark, who played Gaia, she should be recasted to like maybe like someone like Psylocke or Betsy Braddock. The main villain of the show, Kingsley Ben-Adir, who played Gravik, he should be recasted to someone else. I feel like he has too much of a presence to just be a wasted Skrull villain. I feel like he should have been a better, like he should be someone else. Olivia Colman as Sonya Falsworth, I think she is the only good thing about the show. Actually, no. There are two good things about the show that I will give the show credit for. The first being Olivia Colman as Sonya Falsworth. She was funny. She was so funny and so on business throughout the entire series. And second thing, the way that Marvel had tried to do their own version of the Super Skrull without having the Fantastic Four, with having, a piece of Gru, a piece of Cull Obsidian, a piece of a Frost Giant, and someone with Extremis. I feel like that was like an interesting way for them to kind of do a little twist on the Super Skrull thing. But overall, this show was just not that good. It was terrible pacing. And let's just not even start with the Rhodey twist. I still personally believe that Rhodey got switched after the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But if they ever address it, I hope that's the case. But I very much so doubt that they'll ever address it. Then at number 11, I have Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Again, to no one's surprise, this movie is just not good. There are some elements I will give the movie credit for, with obviously Jonathan Majors carrying the movie. He absolutely carried it as Kang the Conqueror, despite everything that was going on with him right after the movie came out. I do feel like this film does get a little too much hate. Do I think it's a bad movie? Yes, there are a lot of problems with this movie. Just when it comes to the comedy, when it comes to just the look of the quantum realm, you can tell that it looks CGI. The jokes, the way that basically none of the Ant-Man characters, except for maybe Cassie, has a little bit of an arc. Bill Murray, he was completely wasted as a character, as an actor in this movie. And yeah, overall, it just wasn't that good. I think the only real good thing I can say about this movie was obviously Jonathan Majors as Kang. His presence was known in that film. Still ridiculous that I got beaten by ants of all things, but regardless. And then that whole scene where Hank brings in a whole army of giant ants. I think that was very badass and such a Hank Pym moment. And I remember when I first saw that scene in theaters, I said that is the original Ant-Man. But yeah, aside from that, not much else about the movie was good. I am intrigued to see how for Doomsday they're gonna handle Scott's character now that Kang is not in the picture and it's going to be Doom, but we'll just see what happens. Then at number 10, I have Echo. Now, I do not think this show is as bad as people say it is. It was unfortunately put into the circumstances where it only had 5 episodes, and they aired it all in one day, and it just really had no kind of talk about it. It did kind of set up Daredevil Born Again with, Kingpin wanting, at the start of it, at least Kingpin wanting to do better, but then him obviously wanting to run for mayor, but then we obviously know how that ended. But overall, talking about Echo itself, I think the show really highlighted, for me, it really did well at showcasing the dynamic between Maya and Fisk. I really loved how it dived deep into it. and how that was basically at the core of the show, what it was about, and also Maya reconnecting with her Choctaw heritage. I absolutely loved how in the Assembled documentary thing that like even though they set up that whole celebration thing, like that whole I forgot what it was, how they celebrate that whole thing after they filmed what they had to film. They went through the whole thing, so like the whole cast, the whole crew, they actually got to experience a traditional Choctaw celebration thing. One moment. Sorry about that. The phone went off. But yeah, I really think that this show did have Echo be at Maya be at the forefront, and I really hope that for season 2 of Daredevil Born Again, we will see Maya come in. I know that as of like the last like few weeks, Alaqua Cox did give birth to her second child. Obviously, congratulations to her. So I don't think it's. I think if we do see her be in Daredevil Born Again season 2, I think if anything we'll just see her have a small cameo at the very end of the show. But I do feel like it's kind of like a necessity to see Maya and Fisk reunite one last time if Fisk is taken down by the end of Born Again season 2, which I highly doubt will happen. Then at number 9, I have The Marvels. Now, this is another movie that I feel so bad about, because this film released right when the actors and writer strikes ended, and obviously the actors were not able to promote the movie, so this film financially did not do good. But overall, this is such a fun film. Nia DaCosta absolutely kills it with this movie. I know that she said that this was not really the film that she wanted to do, like the film that she envisioned, but overall, it was still a fun movie. The dynamic between Carol, Monica, and Kamala was so much fun. Kamala was obviously the standout, and I do like what they kind of did with Fury, him being the leader of Saber. I do wish that they did make Fury a little bit more serious, but again, I understand why they did it, because he was kind of more of a quote-unquote jovial person in the first Captain Marvel movie. The villain, Dar-Ben, she was an okay villain. We understood why she was doing what she was doing to save her planet, but I feel like if this film was a little bit longer, like maybe 20 minutes longer, and we would have gotten to know more about Dar-Ben and her connection with Carol, I think that would have made it a lot better. The whole musical planet scene, I just did not care for. I remember seeing that movie, that part in theaters, and I had my eyes closed, and even whenever I see the Marvels at home, I just skip that scene, because Prince Yan, there was no purpose for them to really go to that planet aside from, oh, this planet has the most amount of water in any planets in any of the universe. So there you go. But the fighting style, the fighting sequences in this movie was definitely the highlight, one of the two highlights of it, obviously the other one being the character dynamics of the three characters. But overall, a very solid Captain Marvel movie, in my opinion. Then at number 8, we have the latest addition to the MCU, Ironheart. Now, going into this, I did not think I was going to love Ironheart as much as I did, because overall it had that problem being the 6-episode format. But because I had faith in Ryan Coogler, I was intrigued, and this show, in my opinion, delivered. I feel like having Riri at the forefront of having her tackle her grief and not have her be a MacGuffin like she was in Wakanda Forever, I think was beautiful. Her dynamic with AI Natalie was so good. And can we just talk about how we finally have Mephisto in the MCU, and how he kind of basically just gave up on Parker, and I am really intrigued to see how Parker will be handled as a character in the future, because now that he doesn't have anyone in his life, his cousin's dead, the whole crew that I know for a fact we are never going to see again, Clown, Slug, and the Blood siblings, we're never going to see them ever again. But overall, I really did love how this show made Chicago specifically a character. Like, within the first 10-15 minutes of episode 1, we are living and breathing in Chicago, and that was something I absolutely loved. I loved the way the suits looked for Riri. I loved how they actually made the actual suits and went back to Iron Man 1 style, where they actually made the suits and they had Dominique Thorne walk in the suits and actually do that. My one, I guess, I don't want to say problem. The one problem I did have with the show is how they handled Ezekiel Stane. Now, I will give Alden Ehrenreich credit. He absolutely did really well as the character, kind of losing his mind within. But I really wish that he did not turn so good so easily, after he first interacted with Riri. I wish that he willingly sided with Parker until he saw that Parker was kind of being a bit of a psychopath. But overall, I think that if Armor Wars ever gets made, I think we will see Ezekiel Stane return, because he's a character that we're obviously going to see return at some point. In a perfect world, I'd say it would be cool if we were to see him appear in Vision Quest, but because that's going to focus more on AI stuff, I doubt we're going to see him appear in that. But overall, this is honestly a good show. And with how it ended with obviously Riri making a deal with Mephisto, I do feel like we are going to get a season 2 of this show. And we are going to explore what exactly Riri's going to have to lose. Obviously, it's going to have to be her soul, but what she will really have to lose for making a deal with Mephisto. At number 7, I have Captain America Brave New World. This film did not deserve to get the hate that it got. I really like this movie. Obviously, I understand the problems it had. There are some problems. I personally don't really mind the way that the leader looked. I don't really mind the way he looked. I really did not care about Ruth. She could have literally been written out of the movie, and you could have replaced her with Agent Taylor, and that would have made more substance. They should have brought back Sam's family. Like, they should have brought back his sister. They should have brought back his nephews, and they should have just brought back Eli Bradley to kind of maybe tease for him to become Patriot. But aside from that, the things I really loved about this movie, Anthony Mackie absolutely killed it. This film proves why he deserves to be the new Captain America, why he is Captain America. His dynamic with Daniel Ramirez as Joaquin Torres was incredible. Harrison Ford, in my opinion, was the standout of this movie, and how you could tell that even though this film was a Captain America movie, this film focused more on Ross's arc as a character of him wanting to go good, but obviously everyone knowing that who he is, it's very difficult for people to believe that. And I really did like how the whole spy thriller, even though it really wasn't much of a spy thriller, we did get those spy elements of questioning like who was doing this, who wanted to kill, who took control of Isaiah, and obviously we know why Stearns wanted to do it, but it was really good. The Red Hulk versus Captain America fight scene was really good. My favorite scene in the whole movie was the dogfight scene on Tiamat Island, or Celestial Island. I think that was just such an incredible thing, and to show how different Sam is to Steve in terms of being Captain America and how their fighting styles are. I think that was really done well. And yeah, I think this was just, in my opinion, a really solid way to start off Sam Wilson's trilogy as Captain America. Then at number 6, I have Daredevil Born Again Season 1, a return to Daredevil. This was by far one of the darkest shows in the MCU I've ever seen, with how that finale ended alone. I really have nothing else to say aside from it was a good Frankenstein amalgamation. Obviously, you could tell that the way that they handled Muse's storyline, they obviously had to do something with it at the end of it, because of the pre-creative overhaul and then the post-creative overhaul had to work hand in hand. And I will give Marvel credit for how they were able to deliver that dynamic as a whole. Matt Murdock, the way that Matt and Fisk were handling each other's arcs, how they were basically at the start of the series, they were basically like, no, we're not reverting back to our old ways, but slowly but surely they reverted back to their old ways. I think was done so beautiful. The first fight scene between Daredevil and Muse was so good. It was one of my favorite scenes. I think it's definitely one of my favorite Daredevil fighting scenes of all time. I really do like all the new supporting characters. I do feel like we're gonna explore more of them now in season 2, now that we are now fully in the post creative overhaul with the whole crew. So I think that's going to be really fun. I am excited to see John Bernthal as Punisher. Incredible. He was 10 out of 10. And I really liked how this show really did not hold back on the violence, especially with how Fisk killed the commissioner. And yeah, overall, I really enjoyed it. I'm very excited to see what's going to happen in season 2. Now we're going to have Jessica Jones returning. And obviously, I'm very certain we're going to get Luke Cage and Iron Fist coming back. Then at number 5, I have a very shocking one, Agatha All Along. I did not expect to love this show as much as I do, and from the practicality of the set to the dynamics of all the characters, from Agatha to Billy to Lilia to Alice to Death herself, I think it was just so good. I really loved all of it. The way that each part of the Witch's Road was incredible, and the amount of twists and turns that the show gave was really good. The only problem I had with it was just, I guess, how the Salem 7 were handled. They were supposed to be like the quote-unquote main villains, but they're really just a MacGuffin to have the characters keep moving forward in the show. At number 4, I have Deadpool and Wolverine, the first MCU rated R movie. This saw the real MCU debut of Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool and Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. It was awesome. I think if you take away the, I guess, nostalgia part of it, this film still works very well on its own of honoring the Fox universe and just telling its own original story. The only qualm, I guess, with it is just I wish that we've gotten more time with Cassandra Nova in between from her first appearance in the film to the final Resistance battle. I wish we would have got more of that. But overall, I really did like it. I really did not care about the Peter and B-15 little love tease thing. I did not give a shit about that. I'm very sure we're not going to see that continue. But overall, I think it was still really fun. Number 3, I have Loki Season 2. In my opinion, this is the best. Loki Season 2, the Loki show, in my opinion, is the best Marvel Disney Plus show we have gotten at all. The way that Tom Hiddleston he shines as Loki. He made this version of Loki go through his own character arc that's different from what we saw in the mainline Loki, and I'm so happy with what we got. The whole supporting cast of Sylvie, Mobius, B-15, Casey, OB, they were just so incredible, and I'm really excited to see how exactly that story is going to continue in Doomsday and Secret Wars, because I'm very certain that those characters will play a prominent role in those two movies. Then at number 2, I have Thunderbolts / The New Avengers. Need I say much more? This film was, in my opinion, one of my most anticipated films of Phase 5, aside from the number 1 spot, which we obviously know which one it is. But just seeing these side characters of Yelena, U.S. Agent, Red Guardian, Ghost, Taskmaster to an extent, and Bob all come together to become a newfound family was just so incredible. Their dynamic was so good. And just the whole topic of mental health being at the forefront of the film was just so beautiful, and I really loved how that film came out at the start of Mental Health Awareness Month, which actually Marvel knew what they were doing with that. And yeah, I just really loved it, and I'm really excited to see how the new Avengers, well, they're not the actual new Avengers. We all know this, but I am really excited to see how much of a role they're going to serve in Doomsday and Secret Wars. I doubt some of them are going to serve that big of a role, but I know that obviously because they will be in the movie for Doomsday, I think they're going to serve a kind of big role. And then obviously at number 1, we have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, James Gunn's magnum opus to, in my opinion, one of the greatest trilogies of all time. In my opinion, I feel like the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy should be in the conversation of one of the best trilogies in pop culture history. In my opinion, it deserves to be in the conversation with the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy, the Lord of the Rings trilogy, the OG Star Wars trilogy. This film was just so emotional, and I love how we all, as an audience, thought that Rocket or Drax were going to die, and there were multiple times throughout the movie where I thought that one of these characters were going to die, but the fact that James Gunn did not have any of them be killed off and gave them each their own moment to shine and gave them, in a way, all their own happy ending with New Gamora going back with the Ravagers, to Drax becoming a father to all these kids, to Mantis going on and doing her own thing, to Rocket being the new leader of the Guardians, and to Quill going back to Earth to reconnect with his grandfather. I think that was just really done beautifully, and overall, Phase 5 as a whole was definitely an upgrade to what Phase 4 was. You can definitely tell there was more direction, in a sense, with Phase 5, and in my opinion, I am really excited to see what's going to happen with Phase 6. I do at some point plan to do a whole retrospective video deep dive into the Multiverse Saga, but let me know down in the comments what you thought of Phase 5, and let me know down in the comments your ranking of all Phase 5 as a whole. And thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Joshua from Rage Reviews, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.